All right, guys, welcome to another one. Today we are going to review the NA Miata. I'm going to show you guys this beautiful Toge road out here in Japan, and I'm going to show you. I gave you a sneak peek. I'm going to show you my my new shirt I'm dropping for Project 7 Leaf, which is my NA Miata back home. So let's just get into it. We're going to talk about why the NA Miata is not the best first car, but literally the best car that you could own. And we're going to get a ton of comments on this. I know we're going to have a bunch of discussion on this. I know 12 people already dropped comments right there. But what I want to discuss is how the NA Miata is the best car, the best driver's car, I guess is the best way to explain. Not necessarily your best first car, because I've always seen it argued, oh, it's the best first car, it's the best car to learn it. Well, yeah, it is, but it's also the best car just to stay in. And not to say that you should never own another car in your, ever, but the thing with the NA Miata is, as a driver's car, this car will not only grow with you, but help you grow and help you expand your driving skill base and everything else. So a couple of the points I want to get into with this is it's going to be the value for the money, what you can get out of it for performance. And then I think one of the biggest things about the Miata that definitely makes it that best car to own and drive is the fact that it is just so well balanced. And it's a balance in performance, it's a balance in suspension, it's a balance, just the overall package of a vehicle. Now, not to say that, we can't build a $100,000 project car and make it outperform a Miata. Now, there's plenty of cars that, almost every car out of the box is going to outperform a Miata in a straight line. Sure, they all have more horsepower. That's fine. But you take that same car that has more horsepower and you then put it on a track, or you put it on this Toge road like I'm on right now, and a lot of those high horsepower cars just don't matter anymore. they completely lose their advantage in the fact that they're not as well balanced. So the Miata on this specific Toge road that I'm on right now, which let me give you guys a little history on that. So the Toge road we're at right now, this is the real life location of one of the initial D Toges. This is Toru. He drives the red NA Miata in the series. He of course races the 8.6. They do a downhill, and you guys will see, I'll try and highlight it in the video. There's some gigantic open gutters, and in the initial D series, the 8.6 finds a way to span the gutters at speed and all of this other stuff, and the Miata doesn't and ends up flipping. But anyways, that's in the initial D series. So I wanted to come out here. I wanted to show you guys that the location. I figured it was a perfect place to bring out the NA Miata, and at the same time, do all of this for you. So that's why we're here at this location. It's fitting. I actually drove almost 4 hours, I guess 3.5 hours north of Tokyo, just to bring you guys to this gorgeous location. And as you guys will see, I'll put clips in and out of me going up and down the run a little bit, and you'll see just how fun of a Toge it is out here. And a lot of the Toges that I come and visit out here in Japan are like this. Now I did Hakone. Hakone's more wide open with, it's more of a high speed run, both uphill and downhill, and it's really wide. So if you were to technically use the entire road, it'd be super easy. On this, in the initial D series, they of course run, well after hours, and they're using both lanes. But even both lanes at speed, at a spirited speed, going up and down these would be really fun. But let's get back to the Miata. So one of the points was the value for the money. Now, when the Miatas first came out, yeah, they were a little bit more expensive. The price has come down. The price has held stable for these. Both the NA and the MB. They, of course, when they first came out, they had a 1.6. Later on, they upgraded it, or updated to the 1.8, and then they ran the 1.8 through the series. And the 1.8 in this car is plenty. There's also an argument in between the 1.6 and the 1.8. 1.6 spins up faster, revs faster, but the 1.8 has more low end torque, so that's kind of a gimme. Most everybody moves into the 1.8. The 1.6s are harder to come by anymore. Although if you guys are watching my project, my project, I am throwing a 1.6 in it, so we'll see how it does with the 1.6. We'll see if that's everything I want, or if I, end up having to move it to a 1.8 later, but we'll see. So this one has a 1.8, and as you can see, it gets up and down the Toge just fine. Of course, it gets down the Toge a whole lot faster. And it's a rental car, so I have to behave, okay? I wanted to show you, what the Toge look like, so you guys would get your example. But value for the money, that's where we were at. So value for the money, you can get a really good, well sorted, stockish, they're hard to find stock anymore, stockish, Miata for 8-10K right now, and like that puts you in a really good platform. Now, the progression forward in a project car, as you guys all know, I mean, we all modify them. I mean, you could drive it stock, it does okay stock, but the real advantage is the performance parts that it takes makes a huge difference. And again, it starts out well balanced. So value for the money, you get into one relatively inexpensive. I had one of these where I took it out on the track and did it kind of head to head versus an S2000. The S2000 on the track was lap time faster, but I honestly had 1,000% more fun in the NA, and was surprised when I got back to the pits that the NA was actually slower, and it was substantially slower. You can watch that video. It was actually substantially slower than the S2000, but it didn't feel slower. It felt gobs faster, which was again, that like smiles per lap type of thing. The NA just really has the advantage over just about any car. Now, I know we can go, on the crazy limit side, but I'm willing to argue, and you guys drop those comments, we'll discuss it, but I'm willing to argue, dollar for dollar, smile per lap, there really isn't any car that's going to beat a Miata. Now, on the track, on the Toge, this is where it lives. Like I said, I drove it 3.5 hours to get here, and it was still comfortable. But on the track, on the Toge, on a smaller, tighter track especially, this car just goes fast. Just really goes fast. And the one I've rented here, they have upgraded to Bilstein struts. It has all new kind of rubbers, you know, all of that's been refreshed on it. And it actually drives really, really good. Little wider set of wheels, a little bit more rubber on them, and this car literally would be unstoppable. So it doesn't take a lot of modification. It doesn't take a lot of suspension work to just further enhance what this car already has. It really doesn't. You know, if you guys are watching my project, my NA, I'm throwing a set of coilovers on it, and I'm throwing a set of kind of basic coilovers that, you know, still have rebound, you know, still have the dampening adjustment, but they're not, you know, they're not like an Öhlins or anything else, because for the most part, this car will never need it. You get everything you need out of this, out of a really good, like a good mid-level set of coilovers, and this car is super happy. Okay, I mean, technically you could do it, you know, the spec Miata guys run it with like a set of struts and springs. Like, they don't even go to full coilovers. So the car performance wise is just fabulous. It handles great. One of my favorite things about the car is it's like being in an adult go-kart. It's like you grew up karting and you want to do that on the street now. That's what this car is. So as you guys can tell, I definitely do enjoy this. I'll show you this specific one that I rented a little bit. Honestly, it's been driven a lot. This one specifically, it drove fine. I'm not complaining about it at all, but you can tell as a rental car and as a car of this age, like, it's been driven a lot. You know, there's cracking in the dash, there's dents and dings everywhere, but it's still what kind of makes this car as lovable and as fun as it is that, you know, even kind of, you know, hammered a little bit, it's still a super fun car to drive. Now, so value for the money, definitely. I mean, you could get into a couple other cars. You guys know I had an S2000. You get into an S2000, you know, you get almost twice the power. You get really good handling out of an S2000. But dollar for dollar, and I think the S2000 is probably the most comparable, but again, getting old, dollar for dollar wise, is this one still on its consumables, still on its replacement parts, is going to be cheaper. We have a couple, like the first gen, come on, get out of here. Little B wanted to meet me. The like first gen of the new 8.6, the BRZ, the FRS, you know, all of those. That's a pretty good car too. You would start at a slightly higher price point than you would in the Miata, and it's probably at a comparable price point to the S2000. Has a ton of aftermarket support, which is great, but your cost for your performance parts and everything else are going to be slightly higher and slightly elevated compared to the Miata. I mean, tires for the Miata are cheaper. They're in a smaller size. You know, you can run a 205 on this car, and that's probably plenty for most people. But you know, it's your cost for performance. We could build, I don't know, like a new M2, like a G87 M2, but you're 65, 75,000 to start in the car. The car performs really well. It accelerates incredible. It has a great amount of power. You know, it still needs suspension work, so now you're going to spend thousands of dollars on suspension work. The amount that you put in to, we'll say, like a new M2 in just suspension and like tires, I would say, is probably more than the entire cost of what you would do in an NA Miata. And then out on the track and everything else, I would argue, okay, you're still gonna have just as much fun in this Miata as you would in that, or in most other cars at that point. You have 350Zs, they've come down in price, but your parts are definitely a lot more expensive. And then, you know, you start with more horsepower, but then you have to catch up on your suspension, you have to catch up on your brakes, you have to catch up on all of that stuff that the Miata is so much less expensive to do. The brakes, for the most part, on a Miata, you really don't even have to change. Put in a set of pads, and for the most part, you're good. You know, most people, if they're going to upgrade, they'll go to a set of just Wilwood calipers, and you know, Wilwood caliper is a very inexpensive upgrade. So again, you know, price for performance. Now, the other thing on this car that I think is a huge advantage is this is a driver's car, and it's going to help teach you how to drive. It's, if you guys don't know, front engine, rear layout, okay? Now, I argued that it's the best performing, best driver's car, the best car that you can own, okay? Now, if you want to be in a front wheel drive and you don't like rear wheel drives, you can have an argument about front wheel versus rear wheel, which one's a real car, you know, or driver's car, that kind of thing. If you want to be in a front wheel drive, I came up in front wheel drive cars. You know, any of the, you guys know, any of the 90s, early 2000s, the Honda hatches, yes, if you prefer a front wheel drive car, that's going to be more of your car. But if you want a rear wheel drive car and you want it, you want that fun, this is the car, okay? Now, I'm sure a lot of you are going to be like, oh, but it doesn't make enough power, but it doesn't. Look, let the car teach you. Learn how to drive, okay? And I don't mean that in a bad way, but you know, that's what this car is going to do for you. It'll get you to your limits. It'll, you know, teach you where those limits are. And in a rear wheel drive, you know, you get that flow. A set of rear sway bars on this that are adjustable, you can dial in whether or not you want it to step out further, if you want it to stay tighter and almost drive more like a front wheel drive. You know, you can get that style, that feel difference. I mean, there's plenty of people that take these out and swing them and drift them and everything else. So if that's what you're into, you can do that. The car will do just about everything you want it to do. So I wanted to bring you guys out. I wanted to show you this. I wanted to show you the location. I wanted to talk about the NA because I really do enjoy the car. And I'm sure there'll be enough of you guys in the comments that have been following me along and everything else that will be a little surprised that I do actually like the car that much. It's one of the reasons I picked one up as a project car. It's one of the reasons I wanted to drive a right-hand drive one, because you know we can import these, and importing one is I'm interested in. Maybe I hate to say it, but maybe trade my project for a right-hand drive one. That's something I got to think about. So if you guys have been following me, I've told you recently that I was getting ready to drop a new design. I'm kind of running through my project cars, dropping new merch, dropping new designs. So I did the same thing for my NA Miata. I took a, you know, you guys saw the peak as I was walking on camera. So once I drop this video and once you guys see this video, this will be available. You guys, I really appreciate all your support. I appreciate all your support, watching my videos, helping me grow, all your comments, purchasing you know, my merch that I'm dropping. I've got both, you know, shirts and hoodies. As we go through the summer months, I'll make less hoodies, you know, but I think as of now, these will all be limited runs, so I may only do one print. I may only do this one time. If it does really, really well, maybe I'll print them again later in the future, but it'll probably be one limited run on them, and that'll be it. So if you guys like this design, please jump over to my store. You can grab it there. If you're local in SoCal to me, and you want to save on shipping, hit me up. I'll meet you at one of the meets. You guys know I'm always at all of those. But yeah, you guys, I really appreciate all your support. That's cool. Little Evo going by, little MR. Sorry, I'm not supposed to interrupt. But yeah, so again, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for helping me grow this channel. I'm going to show you a little bit more. I did a little uphill. I did a little downhill. I wanted to show you both of that out here on this Toge. And as you guys know, I'm out here in Japan for the week doing a bunch of fun stuff. Got Wickfest, a couple drift events and everything else. So you guys will keep seeing those videos drop. And then I'm back in SoCal. Get back to doing my thing there. And then we got a couple more trips out to the East Coast. Going to do some more fun. So you guys, thank you for everything. Thank you for your support. Please drop your comments. Let me know what you think about the NA. NA MB, you know, MB was a little bit more refined, but let me know what you think about these first gen Miatas. Are you guys as big of a fan? I know when they first came out, everybody always was like, oh, they're a girl's car and everything else, but to see these on the track, everywhere I go in Japan, every time I'm on these Toge roads, I see them. I was on Hakone the other day, and I probably saw a dozen Miatas. And I mean, you know, that says a lot, okay? So, you guys, let me know what you think. If you've owned them, if you've driven them, if you think there's something that actually compares or beats out dollar for dollar the Miata. I just don't think there is. But, you guys, I love the comments, okay? I love the comments. So you guys drop those comments. Let's talk about it. And I'm going to get out of here. We're going to head over to the next one, and I'll see you guys there. Thanks.